What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/AmITheButthole. And remember, folks, just because someone disagrees with you probably means you're wrong. I.e., if your opinion happens to not line up with mine on whether or not OP or whoever is a butthole, then you're probably wrong. I'm sorry, but that's just how it be. I don't make the rules. Yes, I do, but that's because I'm right. I'm joking. Alright, this story's called, Am I the Butthole for Not Reimbursing My Brother for an Air Mattress? This happened around Thanksgiving, but I'm still getting crap about it from my family. I'm a 27-year-old woman who lives in a one-bedroom apartment by myself. My brother, 24, and his significant other, 22, have lived on the opposite side of the country, the United States, for a few years, and then decided to fly over to see their respective families, both of whom live around the same area. Neither my brother nor his girlfriend felt comfortable staying with their parents due to Brovid, so I offered them my apartment while I stayed with my significant other for the week. Everyone was happy with this arrangement. We never talked about it specifically before they arrived, so I just assumed that they would sleep in my queen-size bed. I have a couple of couches in the living area, and while they are comfortable enough, they aren't designed to be sofa beds. The morning they arrived, I cleaned the apartment and changed the bedding. When they got to the apartment, my brother asked where they would sleep, and I indicate the bed. He sort of laughed at first and then realized I was serious and got really angry. His girlfriend didn't say much but looked mortified. My brother kept saying that there was no way they were sleeping in my bed and it was disgusting for me to offer. I told him that everything was clean and reminded him that they'd have the apartment to themselves. He just kept saying he couldn't believe it and finally snapped that they'd have to make do with the couch. I left quickly without further discussion because I was confused and pretty upset. That night, my brother called me and said that the couches were impossible to sleep on. He said that he and his girlfriend needed to purchase an air mattress and requested that I reimburse him the $55 they paid for it. By now, I was really pissed off and refused. I asked him again why they didn't just take the bed, and he said that if I really had to ask, I have major issues. I said that I didn't care what they did or did not do in the bed. We are all adults and should act accordingly. He called me disgusting again and hung up. My parents found out and agree that I should pay for the air mattress because I wasn't adequately prepared for their arrival. My mother especially keeps insinuating that what I did was gross and unfair and I should have known better. My brother has let it be known that our relationship won't go back to normal until I apologize and reimburse him and his girlfriend. I know my family can be kinda weird and uptight, so I asked my significant other and some friends for their perspective. My boyfriend says he can see both sides, and my friends are basically siding with my parents and brother, saying that it would be inappropriate for me to sleep in the same bed that my brother and his girlfriend previously shared. Edits: a lot of people are asking if we belong to some weird culture where siblings aren't able to share beds. We do not, and my family has never been religious anyway. But as I stated in my post, they are really uptight. Like, we learned about the birds and bees, but sex was always presented as something unpleasant and nasty. My brother and I never discuss each other's sexuality or sexual lives, which in my opinion is normal, but it's pretty clear he has some major hangups. My boyfriend is a lot more open about sex, but he's also very attuned to when people feel uncomfortable and says that even though he disagrees with their reasoning, he can understand why they might not want to sleep in my bed. He thinks I should just pay the $55 to keep the peace. My friends, no idea. No, you're not the butthole. You gave up your place for someone to stay in. If they can't handle some stupid stuff and they're gonna be mature, that's on them. Obviously, it's family, so it's not that cut and dry. Even if you are in the wrong, they can't always see it that way. And in which case, I think your boyfriend is right. Maybe just keep the peace. Let him know he's a dummy-headed idiot. Don't apologize, just buy the air mattress, I think. I don't know. $55, I don't know. But OP, not the butthole. Brothers always the butthole, but oftentimes you have to be treated like the butthole to be the bigger person. Sucks, but that's how it be. Alright, this story's called Update! Am I the butthole for not reimbursing my brother for an air mattress? So I have an update for y'all. Good news and bad, insane news. Good news first. Me and my brother's relationship is back to normal, or as normal as possible for my family. It's well understood that I'm not going to pay him for the mattress. I also showed him everyone's responses, and he conceded that he may have overreacted about this, which is as close as I'm getting to an apology. He also said that it's a classic example of a Reddit circle jerk, but I'll take what I can get. Insane news. The reason I posted on Am I the Butthole to begin with was because I was so taken aback by one of my friend's reactions. Let's call her Claire. She went to middle school and high school with me and my brother, although they aren't close. Claire seemed so completely adamant that offering my bed was inappropriate, that I thought I might be in the wrong. We haven't spoken since I mentioned the situation to her, and I didn't think anything of it, until my phone started blowing up this past weekend. Long story short, Claire texted some mutual friends, my parents, and my boss, who she doesn't know at all, that she believes me and my brother are having an improper relationship. To be clear, this is wildly out of character, and I have reason to believe she's undergoing some sort of mental health crisis. Thankfully, my brother and family are being very supportive, so are my other friends and boyfriend. My boss, not so much. And I'm dreading my upcoming performance review. Happy New Year, everyone. What? Bro, wild lapse in communication there. What the flippity dude? She probably thought that you meant share a bed, like you said, hey, is it weird for us to share a bed or something, maybe, or sleep in the same bed? I don't know. Maybe she thought that you meant at the same time, and I don't know. What? How? Bad, though. That's bad. That's right. Insane news. I hope the boss isn't freaking... What? Alright, this story's called Am I the Butthole for Refusing to Have My Son's Biological Father in My Son's Life? I'm 40, female. My son is 5. His biological father, male, is 41. Background: I never wanted the typical socially approved life of dating, marriage/cohabiting, family, which is the preferred model in my country. I wouldn't mind children, but considered both in vitro fertilization and adoption instead of going through the motions of a romantic relationship just to have them. I would have also been okay with co-parenting. 6 years ago, I had a fling with Mark. He works for the same company, but a different department. He also comes from the same small town as me, which is how we actually got involved. I was on birth control, he was using condoms, but we became that very small percentage statistic anyway. I found out early because of my yearly gyno appointment. I almost said gyno. As I said, I wasn't opposed to the idea of kids, so I decided to keep it, in part because of my age. My country has a decent maternity leave system, my job pays well and allows me to work from home, and my parents wanted grandkids so much they were not just willing, but eager to help me. I was in a really good position to be a single parent if it came to that. I still told Mike out of courtesy and made it clear that I wasn't expecting anything financially or emotionally if he didn't want to be involved. If he wanted to be, we would be co-parents, nothing more. He declined, didn't want to be a father at all. Okay, his choice, but I made it clear that no obligations also meant no rights. He agreed and signed his parental rights away a few months later. I wanted to be fair and give him a chance to think it over in case his first reaction wasn't what he really wanted. I moved back with my parents, weathered the minor scandal. Small towns love their gossip. Gave birth, took care of my son. You don't have a dad because some kids only have a mom has been enough of an explanation for him so far, and my dad and brothers serve as the male role models, so he doesn't feel the lack of that kind of figure in his life either. Conflict. As I mentioned, Mark comes from the same town. Our company sent everyone to work from home in March, and he moved back in with his parents. He contacted me regularly about wanting to meet my son and possibly acknowledging him as his own. I told him no. He hasn't been around before. Why would he want to start now? He tried to tell me seeing the kid around town woke up his parental instincts, but I happen to know that his parents have been after him to settle down. Small towns really love their gossip. So I'm skeptical of that claim and find it more likely he sees my son as a way to appease his parents with a ready-made grandchild. I refuse to have my son used like that. As far as I'm concerned, neither of us need Mark, I don't remember his name, in our lives, and he seems to only want to be around for selfish reasons, not because he really wants to connect with us. One parent who wants the kid 100% is better than two parents where one of them only sees a kid as a means to an end. Am I the butthole for refusing to have my son's bio father in my son's I'm no daddy that I know of. But no, you're not the butthole because that is what has been agreed upon. However, you probably see some potential for harm given that you're the parent and it's your job to be super duper paranoid about everything unreasonably. Not saying that you're being unreasonable here, but in a lot of cases parents are. Anyway, I don't think it's 100% fair to make the assumption that he's just doing it because your parents want him to. Like, that's a rumor and it could have stock, but it could also just be a rumor. So I think it's worth it to have a little sit down and ask him if he's for realsies and ask him how he's gonna prove that and all that jazz. And I think your kid, if he has a chance to, there's no problem in having a face you can put to the whole dad box. You know what I'm saying? So to answer the question, no, OP is not the butthole. It's what was agreed upon. But just saying, re-examine your options because having a kid's a big dealio. And I know a lot of dudes that would be like, oh, I have a kid. She's pregnant. I don't want anything to do with this. Probably not the most responsible people in the world, but a lot of them exist because it's scary, especially when it's not expected. And plus, he has a valid reason. Seeing his kid out and about, I would imagine would unlock some sort of thing. And I'd be concerned if it didn't. Alright, this story's called Update! Am I the butthole for refusing to have my son's bio father in my son's life? I was recently reminded about my post. I created this account with a less often used email address, and there have been some developments. I'm posting this mainly for closure for myself, but also in case some people were curious about how things developed. Mark was his name. Mark had a car accident in late October and passed away. Whoa. I was upset by this for various reasons, mainly related to my son. I mentioned in my responses to the original post that I was willing to facilitate their relationship if I saw proof Mark genuinely wanted to be a present father, and it felt unfair to have that chance torn away like that, regardless of what I thought about its likelihood. In early December, I was contacted by Mark's parents. It turns out Mark had told them about my son after all. When I asked why they didn't come forward earlier, as in before Mark's death, they said they felt like the situation was of Mark's doing and he should have been the one solving it. Plus, they knew me in passing and even more from my aunt's stories, so they hoped we would be able to reach a compromise. Either me with Mark or eventually me with them. I took my son to meet them on St. Stephen's Day, Boxing Day. They got him some gifts, consulted by me, and we broke the fact they were his other grandparents. We spoke of his father in terms of him having had a very busy work and then having an accident and going to heaven before he could meet him. He was upset, but it seemed to be more of a sadness at the loss of an idea than the concrete person. I'm currently looking up child psychologists to help him deal with the whole thing. He seemed to get along well with his new grandparents, if a bit shy. The world situation being what it is complicates matters, but I'm more than able and willing to take all necessary precautions, up to regularly paying for the PCR test for both families to move things along. My son will never know his biological father personally, but he will have his grandparents who certainly want to know and love him. And for him to be loved and never doubted is everything I could ever want. Yikes. That's freaking unfortunate. I really hope OP doesn't hold any sort of, doesn't regret any decision she made because she was being rightfully cautious. As she said, she wanted a father that was going to be present in her her kid's life because, you know, to have had a dad and lose your dad due to him abandoning you is probably a lot more painful than not having known your dad at all. Maybe because you don't know what you're missing. I mean, I could be wrong. I've been more or less stuck with my dad. I'm joking, but anyway, really sad. OP, you're handling this soups well, and good on you for, you know, adjusting course. All right, here is the next story, and it is called Would I Be the Butthole If I Secretly Move Out? I, 20 female, oh shoot, this is one of those things. I, 20 female, live in an apartment with 2 roommates, 20 female and 24 male, and have done so for the past year. I was friends with one of them beforehand, we'll call her M, and when I got tired of staying at my parents' house, they offered to rent their spare room out to me, and I happily agreed. The other day, I bought myself a crap ton of junk food, a couple of sub sandwiches, some chicken wraps, 3 cans of Pringles, a few sodas, an iced tea, some candy, and 2 bags of beef jerky. M put up a big fuss about it and insisted on me putting it away properly instead of putting the non-perishables in my room. Sure, fine, let's see how long my food lasts. All my food was gone within the next 2 days. Devin ate it all, and I've asked him not to finish my food, that he can have some, but save some for me. When I brought it up to M, she brushed it off, saying if I wanted to eat it, I should have already. They don't buy groceries, so I took it upon myself to get myself some food, and now it's all gone. But okay, all my food is going missing before I can eat it, and they don't buy groceries. That's not too bad though, right? Well, today was the final nail in the coffin. M and Devin were fighting again, and all of a sudden, M comes out to the living room where I'm at. She says, "Can we go check the mail and maybe stop at fast food place to apply there?" We all have full-time warehouse jobs. I don't need another tiring job on top of that, so I ask her why. And this woman tells me that we are 3 months late on rent? I have been paying my portion of the rent to Devin as we agreed. Meanwhile, they just went clothes shopping last week, and Devin got 3 pairs of expensive Nike shoes that he didn't need, on top of a $500 promise ring he bought M the other day. I'm furious. They're trying to have me get a second job because they didn't think to frickin' pay rent? I'm done waking up to a grown-ass man stealing my socks and shirts. I'm done buying food and not being able to eat it. I'm done paying rent to these frickin' idiots that are just going to get us evicted. So my plan is to pack my crap up and leave. I don't plan on giving them December's rent. I actually hope they get evicted after everything I've been put through. Will I be the butthole if I do that? No, you're not gonna be the butthole. You pulled your part of the bargain. You pulled your weight, held up your end of the, there you go. Held up your end of the bargain, pulled your own weight, and they threw your weight overboard in exchange for some stupid sugars and spices. But even then, sugars and spices back then, when you were dealing with ships and stuff, were valuable. Like, they were basically other currency. Everyone wanted sugars and spices, and sugar was a spice back then. Crazy stuff, right? And here we have Devin just upsetting that delicate balance, like some sort of stupid person, like a pirate that instead of stealing things and selling them, you just steal stuff and uses that stuff to buy other stuff with that serves no purpose. It's not like he's buying cannons to steal more stuff. No, he's buying a bunch of barrels, empty barrels. This analogy is very deep, and not just any empty barrels, all right? These are super expensive barrels with cool writing on them. That's it though. I mean, the waterproofing is decent, but you get my point. Alright, this story's called Would I Be the Butthole If I Secretly Moved Out? Update! I did it, guys. Finally moved all my things out of that damn apartment. No more waking up to my food being devoured. No more having my things go missing. I told them flat out that if they were irresponsible enough to fall 3 months behind on rent, that I couldn't keep living there while we wait for an eviction notice. I am back in my old bedroom at my parents'. It kinda sucks having to follow their rules, but ultimately I think it's worth it. I have the peace of mind now that I'm not going to get evicted because of other people's mistakes. Sorry for the long wait. I didn't want to update until I had real news. Thank you everyone who said such nice things and gave helpful advice. You guys really gave me the confidence I needed to bite the bullet and finally leave. Thank you everyone, and Happy New Year. Hey, good stuff, OP. Now all you gotta do is just go somewhere, move out, hopefully without roommates. And if they are roommates, I hope they're super cool, super super attractive and you end up marrying them.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.